Welcome to the New Author Podcast, a weekly podcast diary starring Jerry Evanoff and Rich
Axl
Casey.
Rose?
Join them weekly as they talk about writing, publishing, and marketing their books.
Worm.
And now,
Seated.
here are your hosts.
Seated.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Author Podcast, where we dance and cough. It's what we do. I'm one of the hosts of this podcast, Jerry Evanoff. You guys got to bear with me. I'm not sick anymore, but I just can't stop coughing. So we'll see if I can make it through this next 45 minutes or so.
I think for most people, that defines being sick. If you're coughing, you're still sick.
No, I feel like I'm not anymore because I don't get sick, is what I tell people. So,
okay.
Yeah. So let's see. This is, what is it? Wednesday, December 17th. So we're 8 days from Christmas. I can feel it coming, Rich. It wants to cough so bad.
You're like Poirot. You spurn all but the greatest of afflictions.
Exactly. 2025. This is episode number 339. And with me, calling me Hercule Poirot is Rich Casey. Rich, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm totally into the holiday doldrums already. I gotta struggle through this next 4 days of work, and then I'll be able to do holidays proper after that. So
there you go. Yeah.
Looking forward.
I'm actually working all around the holidays. I don't have any time off other than the eve and the day of the two holidays. But there's gonna be nobody there, so who knows how much I'm gonna work.
I've been getting really lucky with the way in which these holidays have been falling for me. That my long weekends have been backed up by the holidays, and that like next week I'm gonna be off from Monday through the following Sunday, and I only have to take one day off in vacation leave.
Oh,
all the
nice.
rest of
That's
it
really
is
nice.
Normal days off and holiday days. So yeah,
that's really nice. Well. Yeah. So does your PTO, does it reset January 1st or
no?
Or
it rolls.
You just earn it as you go?
Yeah, you earn it as you go. So
okay.
Basically get since I'm just starting off, I'm getting a day of vacation and a day of sick leave every month in terms of what I'm earning. And then
okay.
Yeah,
so if you want to take like January 2nd off, can you do that? Have you earned it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like the first of the month. Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, it rolls forward. I mean, some people have 1,000 hours banked. I don't know why they've done that, but they have. So.
Yeah, my buddy Sean works for the state of Ohio, and for the longest time, he never took vacation because he doesn't do anything, so he never took vacation. So going into last year, he had hundreds and hundreds of hours, and you get paid out at the end for it. So that's what he kept saying. It's like an extra paycheck after I quit. I'm like, dude, you need to take time off. You need to like do stuff, get away from work. And then he got cancer, and he was like, well, thank God I had all those hours because I used them all, or a lot of them, when I was going to get my treatments, every morning. So it worked out for him. But yeah. So,
yeah. Otherwise, you have to take family medical leave, and you don't get paid for that. So.
Right. Yeah. So. All right, so let me jump in.
Because we have the best country in the world. That's
why. We do, actually. Yeah. So let me jump into my stats. This is going to be a very thin podcast in terms of Rich and I reviewing our week last week, because my guess is I wrote 0 words, and I'm going to guess without looking at Rich's stuff that he actually wrote the same or less than me. I could be wrong about that.
I wrote negative words.
Okay, so
I could have done that if I was editing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, there you go. But the good thing is what we're going to do is I probably wrote some words, but we're going to go ahead and do our 2025 recap after the regular podcast, which should be pretty quick. And then that should give us a nice podcast here. And then the next time we meet, which will be Monday, December 29th, is that what we said?
Right.
Yeah, Monday, December 29th, we will do a 2026 preview along with our normal podcast, which probably won't have a lot of meat to it either. So we're going to do 2025 recap and then 2026 review over the next couple of weeks. Then once we get to the new year, we'll get right back into our rhythm and see how it goes. So I'm going to start with my stats for last week. If you
call what we have a rhythm, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like one of those songs that
it's a white guy rhythm. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
that's right.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So my goal last week was to finish my revision and send it to my editor, and it really wasn't a goal. That was more of a deadline, so I actually had to do. But I did it, and I actually did it early. I did it a day early. I sent it off to her a day early, which felt good. And I really haven't looked back. I haven't done anything since then. My final word count for book 2 was 90,135. I could not get below that 90,000, which was a little disappointing. And we'll see what she has to say about that. And then no change to my word count for the year. My words per hour stayed the same at 1,287. So not a lot, going on last week in terms of stats.
Yeah, and I did absolutely nothing in terms of writing last week. I did do some interesting, well, not interesting, but I did some productive things. I had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. So Friday, we pulled all the furniture out of the living room and we shampooed the only carpet that we have in the whole house because when we bought this house, it was all carpet. And, that's just not what, number one, we had pets back then. But number two, it's just too hot and humid to have carpet in your house. You need that cool tile floor to walk around on. So over time, I had pulled it all up and put down tile. But that one carpet that we do have seems to attract every piece of dirt that ever comes in the door. So the kids are coming for New Year's, and so we decided to get that all cleaned up. And then basically, I'm not exactly sure what I did. My wife tells me I had a very productive weekend, but at this point, I can't even tell you what I did for the rest of the weekend. And then since the weekend's been over, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I've just been working and haven't even cracked open. Oh, I take that back. I did do a little bit of editing on the thriller that I just finished. Working on chapter 1. Didn't do a whole lot. Didn't really change the word count. So yeah, there wasn't really a whole lot of writing stuff that I got done.
Well, I can give you a little bit of a last week's recap. Most of my days went like this: work from home, and then in the evening, attempt to try to play a game and record it for YouTube, but get 15 seconds in and cough myself to death, and realize, okay, I'm not ready to record. I feel better now. I think if I was going to play tonight, I probably would have been through it. So probably tomorrow I'll get back into it. But on Thursday night, I did have my writers club, and I did want them to read. I did want to read to them 3 chapters. So it's 28 pages, which, the most you usually do is like 7 or 8. And I had 28 ready to go. 3 chapters, 39, 40, and 41. This is my climax. I wanted to get their opinion on the emotional weight of it and how Sam, my main character, took some of the stuff he had to do because it wasn't good. And so we got there, and, there were 4 people that were going to read. Dan went first, Elizabeth went second, and then I went third. And Michaela said, I don't have to go. Don't worry about it. So I went third. I was only able to read 1 chapter, though, because we spent a good half an hour talking about it. And one of the members of the Writers Club, who's very new, she's been there probably 6 months, really, really pressing me with questions. I didn't understand a lot of what she was saying. And a lot of stuff she was saying, when does this happen? I said, well, it happens right here. And then she would ask again. And I was really struggling to understand her questions. I was doing my best. And it wasn't antagonist or anything like that. I was just trying to understand her questions and try to help. And it was a little bit disappointing because I wanted to keep reading, but we went all the way to 8 o'clock. Well, 7. We have to be out of there by 7:55 because the library closes at 8. Mm-hmm. And so we left, and I had a whole bunch of notes on chapter 39, but nothing for 40 or 41. And I asked them before I left. I'm like, hey, it's there. For the people that I printed, people that I printed it for that didn't read it online, not much you can do for me. Well, that's not true. Because I'll get the developmental edit back, and then if we meet next month and I haven't published it yet, which I won't, I can take any suggestion you have. It's driving me crazy. And then there's a couple people who are on, they'll read it on the Google Doc and they'll do their editing there. And Michaela told me she would go ahead and read through it ASAP for me. And so it was funny. Later that evening, I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and I got an email from this new person who, again, only been there about 6 months, really doesn't know me that well. There's a core group in there of like me, Michaela, Dan. For the most part, Kim, Alex was there, who've been there in this thing for years, and we all know each other really well. But she's fairly new; she doesn't really know me that well. And she just it was like a really long email, and she apologized. She opened it by apologizing. She's like, "I hope I didn't annoy you," that kind of thing. And then, as I've said many times, I remember back when I was working at my previous job, my buddy Jeff, who's a really good friend of mine, sent me a work email that was like 9 paragraphs. And then later on the day, he asked me about it. And I'm like, dude, I read like the first paragraph. I'm not reading emails that long. I'm too old to be reading emails that long. Yeah. So the same thing with hers. I read the first paragraph. I scanned through a couple of the next paragraphs, and then I just didn't do it. And then the next night I wrote back to her and said, don't worry. I have thick skin. This is all good. This is all, I have no problem talking about it. If you have problems with it, then we can definitely talk about it. That's what makes it better. So hopefully that she never responded, but hopefully that kind of made her seem that I wasn't. I hope I wasn't coming off like I was annoyed, because I really wasn't. So then,
well, you were probably annoyed that you couldn't understand what she was asking.
That was a lot of it, because she kept saying something like, she kept asking me like, when does Sam turn? And I kept saying, what do you mean turn? When does his thing going from feeling this way to feeling this way. I'm like, you got to give me more. And, it's kind of a lot of that back and forth. And then when she finally got to it, I'm like, well, I thought I did. Like, here's the sentence where you can see the turn. And she didn't see it that way. So we're trying to figure it out.
Right.
And
so she was talking about the turn in the chapter and not the turn in the book.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and I read the scene I read to him the month before was the kiss scene from about 12 or 13 chapters earlier with the same person that he was now accusing of murder. And I was trying to make sure that all that emotional stuff worked, because that's a big deal for him to have to do that.
Right.
So, so then Friday, work from home, nothing in the evening. Although it was funny, I did see a lot of emails coming through, because when somebody edits your Google document and you have it set up to email you, which I assume is by default, because I never really set that up, you get emails. So-and-so has just done this. So-and-so has just done this. And then now Michaela's just going through it like crazy. And she actually went through all 3 chapters in the middle of the night, which was really nice on, I think it was Thursday night going into Friday, actually, is when it was happening. And so Saturday morning, I went to Chick-fil-A, and I went through kind of all the notes I had from reading chapter 39. And then I went through all of Michaela's stuff and made not like significant changes, but I made some of the changes with the way that people felt. I added some action in to show what their emotion was. Like in one scene, I think I have somebody hitting the table. I didn't have that before, and now I have that, which I think it adds a little more anger to whoever was saying it. So things like that. And then I was finished. I was finished up at Chick-fil-A. It's probably about noon when I finished up. It was Santa Cow was there on that day. So when I pulled into Chick-fil-A, there's never anyone in the parking lot. Yeah, there's never anyone there when I pull in at like 9 o'clock. Yeah. They don't usually start getting in until like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And the place was just all kids.
Yeah.
And I had to sit at a table that wasn't mine. And as soon as I saw my table open, I just ran over to it. Took it before anybody else could. And so I got it. And then the people who work there, who are all like 85 to 90 years old, all come over and talk to me. There's a guy, Wally, who's been there forever, and a couple other people. And so I was done about noon, and I didn't email it yet. I went home. It was going to snow. It was going to snow like crazy starting around 2 o'clock on Saturday. I did try to play a game once I got home, couldn't do it. And then later that night, I sent Super Editor to see the book, and I said, how much? And she said 0.006 cents per word. So the total ended up being about $540. And she said, 50% is what I usually ask for. She said, this time of the year, people who I've worked with for a while, if you guys can send me all of it right now, that would be great. I'm not going to run off with money when she's done. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So I just sent her the whole thing. And she said that she'd have it back to me by this coming Sunday, so like 4 or 5 days. So it's only going to take her about a week, which is great, to do the developmental edit. I think the copy edit takes 2 weeks usually, but the developmental is going to take about a week. I remember when I sent my first book to her, and she sent it back to me. I believe it was on a Saturday, and that's when she said, you have a lot of problems here. This is a copy edit. She's like, you need to cut 10,000 words. You need to change the ending. I hate your main character. A lot of things you need to do. She says, you've brought me a lot of business, including like you. You went to her once, and Lindsay went to her. A couple people from 20 Books Vegas that I did the zip line with. I was talking to them, and they went to her. So a lot of people I've sent her way, and she said, listen, you've sent a bunch of business my way. She said, if you want, I'll give you a developmental edit for free, and then you can try to work out what you want to do. I'm like, okay. Well, 24 hours later, she sent me a 28-page document that was the developmental edit. So she works hard, and I appreciate that. So I just sent her, all her 540, and I'm very, very nervous.
So that's what you had right now is a developmental edit that you're waiting on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, I don't remember so I did a copy edit from her and I paid her. Then she gave me a developmental edit. I don't remember if I did another copy edit with her. So when she sends me this developmental edit back, and let's say it takes me a month to just get through it, I'm assuming I'm going to do a copy edit with her, but maybe she's booked. I don't want to wait 3 months. So I don't know what I'm going to do about this.
Yeah, I vaguely remember you saying something that you did a copy edit with her.
Well, I did the first one, and that's when she gave me the free. But did I do the copy edit again once I made all these changes? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd have to go back and look. So I think I should send it for a full copy edit. If it was a novella or whatever, I probably wouldn't. Right. But for this book, after making a ton of changes, and she's not doing a copy edit this time, she's only doing developmental. I feel like I should send her a copy edit afterwards. But it's going to end up being like another $400 or so, $300 or so. I'm assuming. Right. Because she charges less. She charges less per word for copy edit than she does developmental edit. Instead of 0.006, it might be 0.005 or 0.004, something like that. So, per word.
I'm wondering if she would do developmental edits with you. I mean, you're already, you've written all these books, but if you just went to her with a skeleton, an outline of the book,
oh, that's a good idea.
A fairly detailed outline, but just an outline. if she would do a developmental edit with that, because I mean,
considerably less. It'd probably take her quicker.
Yeah, you should be able to. She should be able to pick up whatever errors there are that she feels are errors off of that. Especially, if you run it through like ChatGPT and says, "Okay, make a detailed outline of this book for me."
I think I would use Notebook LM for that. Have you ever used that?
Oh yeah, actually, that would probably be better.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, because that when you upload the document, and then it seems to be pretty good about it. But yeah, I think I might ask her about that when she emails me.
Yeah.
And see what she has to say about that. That's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah. So that was Saturday, and then again, it started snowing like crazy. It snowed all night. I think it snowed for 28 consecutive hours between 2 o'clock Saturday and 6 p.m. on Sunday. And Rich, let me just tell you, I was in a great mood. I love snow. I looked outside and kept saying, "Wow, that's so pretty." And none of that's true. I hate snow. I was so annoyed on Sunday.
You didn't get your saucer sled out and start?
I did not. I did not get it. I didn't leave the house on Sunday.
So how much did you get? Because we had a lot of rain.
That's the funny thing. I got like 4 to 5 inches. Not much.
Oh, that's not bad. Oh, yeah.
It was that little tiny. It looked like a mist. It looked like a misty rain.
Oh yeah.
The whole time. So it wasn't like the big flakes that add up quickly. Right. But I was still annoyed. So, I watched football all day Sunday, and then I tried to play some more football, or played my golf game. I got it set up right here. Tried to play it in the afternoon again. Too much coughing, couldn't do it. So, Monday. So at Monday we actually had at work. We had an AI lunch at Learn at lunchtime, which was basically our boss introducing our CIO, my boss's boss, introducing to anybody from the company who wanted to come in about how we're doing AI, because they're really pushing it. They really want us to use it to do any tasks that are quick, so that it speeds up, us getting stuff done.
Right.
And at the time, my boss, he's my boss's boss. My boss, who's a programmer, was showing some of the ways he uses. He actually uses Claude to do some programming. And which is pretty interesting. I never really thought of that. I just use ChatGPT. But
I was actually going through YouTube, and I was briefly listening to an MIT professor talking about AI and how to actually use it correctly, and how you have to just basically pick a model, go deep with it, and you basically get to learn the personality of the model, just like getting you to learn the personality of a person. And as a result, then you could use it a lot more efficiently. But anyways, he mentioned Claude as being the model if you're interested in highly structured analyses and business analysis and stuff like that. So that would make sense that you would use it for the programming too.
So. Yeah, I didn't know how to use it. I know how to go to ChatGPT. I know how to go to Google and take a look, or Copilot. Take a look at this. But the Claude one is more like it almost looks like a command prompt application that you're running on your screen. It doesn't look like a Windows application or a web application. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. No, yeah, you're right. I'm trying to remember how that worked, but yeah, I think you're right. Because I go through. I have a separate. I think I told you about this, called Typing Mind, that is a window into all the AI models. You pay by usage right. through OpenRouter. So mine always looks like it's a standalone app as opposed to a web browser.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he showed it was like small on his screen. He had other code open. Right. It's really interesting. So, so that was Monday. Tuesday, same thing. Oh, I worked from home. I did open up my writing app again that I was working on a couple months ago. It had been a while since I worked on it because I was just doing some other stuff, but I am going to continue working on that. I'm really excited about that. And I do some plotting inside it every now and then just to see how it's working. And it's going well. Right now, though, it's only saving data to the browser for that computer. So if I were to make it live and I was to go to it on one computer and type a bunch of stuff in there, then go to it on another computer, it wouldn't be there. It'd only be stored locally on that browser for that computer. So I'm working on fixing that right now. So it's more in a database so that wherever you are, you're always accessing the same data. So I'm working on that now. And then today we had today's Wednesday, we had our, I was in the office for the first time in 9 days, and we had our office Christmas party. And so at noon we had lunch, which was great. It was catered. It was great. At 1 o'clock, we did a white elephant. There were 16 of us that were just passing gifts around, which was a lot of fun. And then at 3 o'clock, we had the book club discussion where we talked about the last 2 books that we've read. The first one being the monstrosity Project Hail Mary, which was, 700 pages, 605. It was a lot of pages. And then the second one was actually a novella called, I want to say All the Small Things, but that's a Blink-182 song. It's like small things like these. It's called, and it's by Claire Keegan, and it's a novella. It was a 2-hour audiobook read. I literally listened to it this morning while I was working, so that at 3:00 I could talk about it.
Uh-huh.
And it was about. I don't know if you're familiar with this. You probably are, because you're actually really smart. It was about this thing, the Magdalene cleanse, I think, or laundry, the Magdalene laundry, this Irish thing where women who, and I'm going to butcher this, by the way, so just please excuse my stupidity. The from 1922 to 1996, these convents or whatever would take women who were not married but get pregnant, and they would bring them in, and there was a lot of people dying, things like that. I had no idea the history of any of this when I was listening to the story, and I was bored out of my mind for about the first, 45 minutes of it. It's a 2-hour listen. About the first 45 minutes, it's just this guy, and he's telling us about his life. And I had no idea what decade it even took place in until he mentioned something from the 80s, and I was like, wait, this sounds like a 1940s, lifestyle this guy's leading, but he just mentioned like VHS or something. And and then it went into he goes into he finds a woman hiding in a barn. He lets her out. They go into the convent. He's talking to the mother, I guess. I don't know the terminology. I'm butchering this.
Mother Superior,
Yeah, and the way when he's talking to her, it seems super cryptic and creepy. And I'm like, okay, we're getting into something here. This is great. And then it just ended. And it was just like, oh, okay. And then you have to understand that this is more of a literary fiction type thing. Or this is not an action adventure I'm going to buy at the airport and read on a plane. So I kind of knew that because I understood the genre going in, but it was still disappointing. So we talked about that we talked about the first one for about half an hour. Then we talked about the second one for about a half an hour. And then we decided on our next book, and it's called A Good Neighborhood. Let me see if I can find the author. And these are all books that I would never, ever read. So I'm kind of happy that I'm doing this. It's by Teresa Ann Fowler. And it says it's a contemporary novel about two families in a North Carolina neighborhood whose lives collide over property lines, an old oak tree, and a secret romance between their teenage children, exploring themes of race, class, and what it means to be a good neighbor. So that's what we're reading for December, and we'll meet in January and talk about it, I think. So,
well, that whole thing with the convents in Ireland, I can appreciate why you couldn't really tell what decade you were even in, because they were really. Ireland was like one of the last bastions of Christian moral code. Really. I'm not even sure when the women got the vote there or anything, but I do know a lot of those convents that have shuttered and stuff. They've been doing archaeological studies and stuff by them, and they just find hundreds and hundreds of unmarked graves.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Yeah, where people were born and died, babies all the way up through older people, but no record of birth, no record of death. The only way they could tell there was anybody there was the fact that they found bones. So
and it's so creepy because the story, as someone who reads like the popcorn fiction stuff or whatever you want to call it, the story seems to start to go in this weird, creepy way, and you're like, okay. But then really the story has nothing to do with like good versus evil. Right. It literally is just one man decides to make a choice to do good. That's all it really is. And it's, it's just one, who knows if he changed anything? He probably just changed the life of one person. Who knows? You don't know what the circumstances are or the repercussions of his choice, because it ends with him making the choice and then it just ends there. And it's like, boy, this could have been a novel, but that's not what she was going for when she read it. She was just writing a quick, literary fiction with a theme that she certainly got through. I mean, I didn't enjoy it as a person who just read Project Hail Mary and some of the other books that we read, but I did enjoy it in terms of what it was supposed to be. Like, it made sense to me of what it was supposed to be. So,
how'd you like Project Hail Mary?
I hated it. It was stupid. It was 250 pages too long, and the ending was bad.
I haven't read it, but my daughter-in-law asked for it for Christmas, so I bought it for her for Christmas.
Oh God, the shipping on that. I'm glad you're meeting her in person, because the shipping on that thing, it weighs about 900 pounds. I got
the paperback version, so it's not quite so bad.
That's good. It's 200 pages too long. It's, you and I, we sit down and we look at a video on writing, and there's like 2 or 3 major things that you get right in like writing 101. Show, don't tell. And number 2, don't info dump. And that's all this book is. It's like, here's a sentence and then here's 3 pages of an info dump of the science. No one cares, dude. Just get, I've already suspended enough disbelief on what you're doing. I don't need to know the intricacies of the science. But that's how Andy Weir is. And, you know, I hated his first book. I actually enjoyed The Martian. I didn't read the book. I liked the movie. I don't know if I'd like the book or not. But this one, I have no interest in seeing the movie. I told them today, I'm like, I'm a little worried about myself here because we've done like 5 or 6 books. I haven't liked any endings except for Jane's. I like that ending. Yeah. But the rest of them I have not liked at all. And I'm wondering if it's me.
Endings are hard. Well, endings are hard.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they said.
Yeah, it's rare that I run across a book where I say that writer really nailed the ending. It's usually something, you know, lukewarm at best.
Even Lost Stars, which is a Star Wars, you know, Hallmark romance that I will say is one of my favorite books of all time. I didn't like the ending of that one either. Yeah. So like, but it's, I mean, how could you end it? It's just, you know, it's just. So anyway, so I'm a little whiny today. I apologize. Yeah. But that was my week. In terms of just not a lot of writing. I did get my book sent off to the editor though, and I'm happy about that.
And while you were talking there, I remember that something interesting did happen last Thursday, and that is that I had my book club met on Thursday evening. We had our Christmas party, and we reviewed Lessons in Chemistry, which I don't know if you know about the book or not. Bonnie Gamis. It's a book about essentially a female chemist who in the 50s or 60s who, given the way the book was, you know, you could think she's maybe a little bit on the spectrum, but she was basically, you know, hammered down by all the males around her, you know, and so she ends up going to confront a parent of a child who was stealing her daughter's lunch. And it turns out this guy is a producer at a TV station, and he's so taken with her because she's supposedly a knockout beauty, and he couldn't believe that she wasn't on TV or anything. And so he puts her into into a cooking show where she teaches people chemistry through cooking. So it was pretty interesting. But you know, it was basically a kind of quasi feminist tome about what it was like back in those days and what women, the compromises women had to make, and what happened to the women who wouldn't make the compromises like her. You know. So.
See, that's so funny because I struggle with books like that. Like I've said before, I don't ever want to be taught a lesson. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't need to preach to or anything like that. But some of the books that I'm reading now, it's happening. I'm kind of liking them. So maybe I'm changing as I'm finally rich. I'm finally becoming an adult.
And you learn something about a period that you don't really, you know about it a little bit, but you didn't live it. So, you know, it's a little bit better. But anyways, the best part of that whole book club meeting was that everybody brought desserts for Christmas. So,
nice.
Yeah, I bought a whole tray of cannolis, and somebody bought a whole thing of Petitfours, and other people, you know, cheese and crackers and so on. So yeah, we all pigged out.
that reminds me, on Sunday I made cookies. I made those ones that I don't know what they're called. They're the ones that are the peanut butter with the Hershey kiss in the middle of them.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what they're called, but I did not do a very good job at it. The balls were too big. So when I put it in the oven for like 9 minutes and took it out, there was like a creamy filling, which was just uncooked cookie dough.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like I made myself a special cookie now that had like a creamy filling in it.
That's right.
They're gone. I mean, I ate them all. I got them in like 3 days. They're fantastic. But I'm just very happy with that.
You gave it a chance to bake. It just didn't do it.
So. You know what? You're right. It was not my fault. 100%.
That's right. So well, I got nothing on my future list of things to do. That's going to be for our next episode.
Yeah, mine's the same. Just a couple of courses that from Matthew J. Holmes and Dave Chestnut that I have that, you know, when I get closer to publishing will be more relevant than they are right now. In terms of my addicted to, I'll give you 2, actually. I put coughing on there because that's literally all I've been doing for the last, 9 or 10 days. It's getting better, but it's not 100% better. If you ever hear me pause like this and then start talking, it's because I'm suppressing a cough.
Yeah.
So the other one is, so out of nowhere, all these really, really bad AI channels have popped up on my YouTube recommendations because I watched one. So you watch one and then they all pop up, and they're all regarding the same thing. They're all having to do with World War II stories of what the POWs from other countries thought of America when they were brought over to like Texas or whatever. And they're great stories. They're really bad AI, but they're great stories. So I watched a bunch of them, and then I went through yesterday and I unrecommended every single one of those channels, and none of them pop up anymore because they're like an hour long. I waste too much time watching them. I don't know if they're true. They're just good stories. So I hid all of them. So now none of them show up anymore. Like I had my little, week or so of just watching a bunch of them, and I don't want to see any of them anymore. Have you seen any of those?
Oh yeah, they've been in my feed for months now.
Okay.
Those have, and also the alien stories about how the humanity comes to save the aliens and stuff like that.
I don't have those in my feed, and I'm worried that now that you've said it out loud, Google's going to hear it.
Well, it's going to get worse and worse because something else that happened since we last talked was that Disney made a deal with OpenAI. I don't know if you heard about that. OpenAI's got that Sora video AI program. Well, Disney has essentially licensed. Well, it's a weird deal because Disney actually paid OpenAI $1 billion for OpenAI to use 200 of Disney's characters in their Sora videos. So essentially what Disney is doing is they're paying OpenAI to use their characters and also to build tools for Disney that Disney can then use instead of illustrators and animators and stuff. So the reason why I brought this up is because if you think the amount of AI slop you're seeing in your feed now on YouTube is bad, just wait till people get a hold of this stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm only really watching videos now of people that I subscribe to for a long time, or if their face is on camera. If their face isn't on camera, I really struggle with believing that it's real, and I just don't watch it. Well, and I love it. It's funny. I love AI. I do, but stuff like that, I want nothing to do.
Yeah. And some of those AI mannequins or whatever you want to call them, they're looking pretty realistic.
The avatars,
yeah. The avatars, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, my addicted to a woman I work with. I don't know, woman. She's like in her mid-20s or whatever. I guess that's a woman, but for an old guy like me, it seems like a kid.
It's a girl. You can say girl.
It's a girl. Yeah. Anyway, I tend to feed her a lot for whatever reason. Because I buy cookies.
Maybe we should say woman. Maybe we should just go back to woman.
I offer them around, and she always taking a bunch. She lives on her own, and she's making nothing there at the library. So I tend to feed her a lot. And so she brought an eggnog. I haven't had eggnog since last Christmas. So scarfed down the eggnog that she brought. We shared it. And then today I went out and bought some more eggnog and some ginger snap cookies, because you really shouldn't be drinking eggnog without eating ginger snap cookies too.
Sure.
So yeah, I've had a lot of eggnog.
I don't know what eggnog is. I've never tried it. I actually have no want to try it either.
Yeah, it's very much like drinking thick, heavy cream that has a bunch of spices like cinnamon and allspice and all that kind of stuff in it. It's very much a holiday thing. I like it in my coffee, but I like it straight as well. But it's like 1,000 calories per shot glass or whatever. It's incredibly bad for you.
All right. Well, let me jump into my schedule then before we get into our 2025 recap here. Next week, so starting tomorrow, I have no goal this week. I have no goal because of a couple different things. Number one, my book 2 is coming back on Sunday, so I don't really want to start doing anything. I do have book 1.5 ready to go. I checked it earlier this week to make sure that it was in Scrivener and it was where I knew it was, and I have my story grid set up to work on it. But I want to wait until I get this book 2 developmental edit back before I make any plans to do anything else, because I need to know how long it's going to take me to do the editing. So no goal this week. I'm also having lunch with my sister on Saturday afternoon, so there's writing time anyway on that day, because it's right in the middle of when I would normally write. So tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, the next 2 days, I'm working from home, working full work days both days. I have nothing planned writing wise. I may work on my writing app a little bit more. I want to get that switched over so it's using the database properly. So I can, because what I want to do is I wanted to put it up online so that when I'm like, in the evening and I'm just sitting on my couch, or let's say it's a lunch break at work, I can actually go in and add some stuff to the story Bible. So even though I'm still working on the programming of it, I can at least get some data in there. So the next time I go to start testing it with plotting and stuff, I have data in there to plot against. Right. So I want to do that. I also want to get into playing some games, because it's been about a week and a half. I feel bad for the people that actually watch me, that enjoy me, because I really have, and I've said nothing. I haven't played anything. I haven't said anything since, I think the last time I did anything was last Tuesday at lunch. I did an unboxing, and before that it had been a couple of days since I played anything. So I want to get back into doing that. Saturday I'm having lunch with Lindsay and all of her friends around 12:30. She's coming into town. for a weekend early Christmas. I don't think I'll do anything writing related. I know we're getting together for dinner after that to exchange but not open gifts. We're still going to open gifts on Christmas morning, but we are going to exchange everything so that we don't have to ship anything.
Mm-hmm.
She's only 4 hours away now instead of 20 like she was before. And there are two NFL.
She's in Ohio though, right?
Yeah, she's in the Dayton area.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Which is like I'm at one corner of Ohio and she's at the other corner, so it's still like a 4-hour drive to get there. And then there's 2 NFL games, although I heard one of them is on Netflix. Now I'm concerned that both of them are. And I don't have Netflix, and I'm not subscribing to Netflix for one football game. I think that's criminal. I think Philadelphia, Chicago is on Netflix. I don't know which game that is. And again, there are 2 of and there are 2 of them that night. And I'm wondering if they're. In fact, I'll have to look if they're both on Netflix. So even if I can't watch them, I will keep an eye on the scores while I'm doing other stuff because it's week 2 of our 3-week fantasy football kind of sprint playoffs. And let's see, what's it say here? Let's see, are they both? Oh wait, it says Fox for both of them. I heard today that it was Netflix, and now I don't even know. Apparently, they're both on Fox, so that's good. I'm not gonna watch them.
I hadn't heard anything about Netflix having games.
I wonder if it's I wonder if there's a Christmas Day game that's on Netflix because that happened last year. NFL Network. Oh wait, it's Thursday. Oh yeah, there's 2 games on Christmas Day. In fact, your Detroit Lions are one of them that are on Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's Dallas and Detroit again. That's weird. And Kansas City. They were on the 3 teams that were on Thanksgiving too. That's really strange. Anyway, so I'll watch those games Saturday night. Probably not a lot of writing stuff. Sunday, I have nothing planned. I will watch football all day, but this is when I'm supposed to get that developmental edit back. And you can bet that the minute I get it back, I'll be going through it, and I'll either be happy or sad. And I'm so scared. I'm so nervous, Rich, that she's going to give it back to me, and it's going to be like, you need 3 months of work. Now, when she did it before, and she was like, this is terrible, you have to change it, it took me like a month. It was no time at all. Right. So I'm just worried. I just hope that she likes it. So, and then Monday, I'm working from home. It'll be a full day. And that's when I'll get back. Lunchtime, I'll get back into working on a few changes based on what she said.
Yeah.
So.
And then the rest of that week is just ... because it'll be the holidays.
Oh yeah, I guess if we're not gonna podcast, let me go real quick here. So I'm working Tuesday and Friday full day next week also. Then Christmas Eve and Christmas Day I have off work. And Christmas Eve I generally will do some writing because I don't do anything in the morning. If like Chick-fil-A's open or something, I'll go do some writing. So I'll probably like that most of that week except Christmas Day, I'll be working on whatever revisions she has me working on, and then we'll get together and we'll podcast on the 20th. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of my week, going through Sunday, is I'm going to be at the library. I'm kind of toying with the idea of maybe taking a little bit of time off in there in order to get ready to be able to leave. Because first thing Monday morning at the crack of dawn, we'll be on the road heading to Detroit. It's about a 1,200-mile drive, so it'll take us 2 days to get there, Monday and Tuesday. Be there with my mom Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. My son and daughter-in-law will be coming in. They'll be from the other side of the state. They'll be staying. I think they're leaving on Friday, and they're flying to California to be with her family. And then on the back end of that, come January 1st, which will be beyond when we next podcast, they're going to come back through Baton Rouge, and they'll spend a few days with us. But other than the next few days of work, I'm just going to be doing the holiday thing. Maybe I'll get some editing done or something. Maybe not. I have plans for one more book before I really get heavily into editing, and I'll talk about that next time. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I have teed up an audiobook for our trip up to Detroit. It's called The Reading List. It's I can't remember the author right now, Sarah something. Anyways, it's a book about an old guy and a young girl, and they're kind of mystical bonding over books in a library. So I thought it'd be pretty cool. And I have to lead that's our book for January for the book club, and I have to lead the discussion. So I thought what I would do is I listen to the audiobook first, and then go back and do a quick read through the book itself. And it would be an interesting experience. Then
Sarah Nisha Adams is
there it is. Sarah Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
all right.
That's it.
So let's jump into our 2025 recap here. I'm going to go through, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to go through everything that I put out as 2025 goals. We'll just run through each one of them. Okay. We'll talk about whether I failed or succeeded. at each one. If I failed, we'll talk about why. There's a couple interesting ones in here, so I'm looking forward to. So new words this year. That was my first goal. I ended up settling on 145,000 words. This would have been me knowing that when I started the year, I had to get through, let's see, it looks 6, 7, 9, and another novella, which I accomplished all of that. I didn't really know that I was going to make a 7.5 at the time, but I did that. And I ended up doing 165,499 words. So I beat it by 20,499, which is great because it meant that I finished my series.
And you know what? You could just stop right there and you could consider 2025 to be a rousing success.
100%.
Yeah. None of the rest of this matters all that much. But let's hear about it anyways.
So existing book goals. So what I said was after book 9 is done, I'll have 8 novels and 2 novellas. Well, I actually have 8 novels and 4 novellas. I have 3. I still have to write one of them. But and the question I wrote in here, what do I do next? So the goals were really to have the first novella edited, which is 0.5, put it on BookFunnel and give it in every single giveaway I could do by the end of April. Well, this is a fail. I actually didn't do this. And the reason I didn't do this is because I decided at some point during the year that I wasn't going to start putting book 0.5 out there until book 3 was published. Because then when I put book 0.5 into all these different, what do you call them? Promos that who knows if people actually read them. They download them, but I'm guessing the large percentage don't even read them. Because you're just downloading a ton at once. But the people who do, they can go to book 1, and they can go to book 2, they can go to book 3 if they like it. So there'll be 3 books out there. So it'll almost be like a free advertisement that a small percentage of people might actually go to. And then they'll click through 3 books and either get me KDP page reads or buying the book outright, which is great. So I did not do that yet. I'm waiting until book 3 is published. The other goal I have for this is to have book 2 ready to send to the editor by December 31st. Success, and by December 31st, I would have already gotten it back with the developmental edit. So that's a big success on that one.
Are you
publishing?
Are you planning on running those novellas through C as well, or
no?
Okay.
No, those all run through either. I'll just trust Grammarly or Pro Writing Aid on that, and I might run it through ChatGPT, but I'll probably just do Grammarly on that one and not worry about that. Publishing goals. So I really have no publishing goals this year, which it's a success because I didn't publish anything. But the actual goal that I put in there was to have a plan, and I do have a plan. That's all done in terms of the order I want to do it, how I want them to connect together, and the box sets that I eventually want to make out of them once I'm ready to get them to make ADP. So that was good. So marketing goals. This one's a big laugher here. Marketing goals. So I wrote in here that I wanted to finish the prequel novella. Will come out after book 7's first draft. Well, I did that. Okay, that's kind of a success. I did that. And then I didn't do that. That's the prequel novella. I didn't do that. Right. And then by the end of the year, I want to have 10,000 subs on my list from a combination of the existing 2,000 I already have from BookFunnel, giveaways, or any other ways I can think, maybe a Facebook ad. I mean, that's a hard fail. I literally did none of this. In fact, I don't even have a MailerLite account right now. I have an author.email account with everything in it, but I don't know if I'm going to use it. I might go back to MailerLite and just pay what I need to pay because I like that one better. It makes more sense to me. Right. But that was a hard fail because I decided that I'm not doing anything until I get 3 books out there. There's no point in wasting money on any kind of a advertising, or even I feel like if I book 1 out there right now, it's out there, it's ready to go. I feel like if I put promos out there and people download them and they actually do read book 1, book 2 is 6 months later, 7 months later. I might lose money on people who don't go to book 2 because it's not available.
Oh, definitely. No.
So I just feel like it's a money loss to worry about any kind of subscribers or anything right at the moment. And I know a lot of people will tell you that they spend a lot of time building up their list ahead of their first book coming out. I don't know if I see that as a good thing. So
yeah, well, the only way you can do that rationally is to say, okay, I'm making an upfront investment that will pay off later.
Yeah,
but it's a good question. Will it actually pay off if it's going to be a long wait? Because people forget who you are; they'll move on to somebody else or whatever.
Yep.
So.
And there's a lot of books out there to move on to. I mean, it's that easy. So.
Yep.
I have a tab in here for writing software, which meant move from Scrivener to Novel Crafter. Meaning having all of my books, all the codex, everything in there. I would call this a success because I did that, except not too long after, I moved back to Scrivener because I just like the UI in Scrivener. It's the best that's out there. I can use multiple computers because of the way I use Dropbox as my source. Everything, I haven't had any problems with that. But I did, again, like I talked about earlier, I did start writing my own writing software that will be web-based, and it will take all the things I use, ChatGPT through Open Router, Google Docs for plotting, Scrivener for writing a story Bible section, a story grid section, eventually some marketing help, marketing advice that will be all AI-based section. I started working on that, and because of the way that I'm using ChatGPT to write it, it really isn't taking me very long. So I'm probably halfway through, maybe a little less than halfway through it right now. And that will be a goal for 2026 to get that into a spot where I can really start using it heavily. So I'm going to call it a success, move from Scrivener to Novel Crafter, because I did, but then I moved back to Scrivener pretty quick. Then we get into the financial goals. This is a fun one because this is still undecided. I bought the car in 2024 and had a goal now where I had to pay off the car, get my emergency fund back to where it was, and then I said, get my house down below $45,000 of the balance. I literally just picked a random number. At the beginning of the year, it was $49,520. This is why mortgages are such criminal enterprises. Is I was at $49,523 when the year started. I made regular payments the entire year of $525 a month times 11 now is $5,500. I'm currently at 46,100. So I'm down $3,000 making like whatever number I said in payments because interest is just free. And I've been in this house 20 years, 24 years. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. So the reason I say it's undecided is because I have one more paycheck coming 1 week from today, 2 weeks from today. That's December 31st. If I want to make a payment to get down below 45,000, I can, and I can call it a success. But, and you'll learn this on the 29th of December when I talk about my 2026 goals, I've changed some of my financial goals a little bit, getting away from the Dave Ramsey stuff because I want to have more of an emergency fund than just the 4 to 6 months that he talks about for different reasons that I'll talk about. So right now, this is undecided. It's probably going to be a fail, but I don't care that it's a fail. I did everything I said I was going to do in terms of paying off my car, get my emergency fund back to where it was. It's actually higher than where it was before. And now I just have to decide what do I want to do going forward. And I already know, and I'll talk about it on the 29th or 20th.
Did you actually buy the car in 2025 or was that in 2024?
No, it was November of 2024, November 15th or so.
Okay.
Yeah, 2024. I didn't start paying on it until February. I deferred it by 3 months.
Okay.
So it took me like 9 months to pay it off, which was nice. But, all right. So other random items on my goal list. So I have Novel Crafter completely updated with all stories as I edit them. And I just wrote, and then it says, since book is one is already published, I'm working right now to get it in there. Next week, I'll talk more about Novel Crafter. This was back in January. And I just wrote lots of failing here because, again, got it set up, stopped, and said, I'm not using this. I'm going back to Scrivener. I love Scrivener. In terms of my writing schedule, I just want to keep it consistent, which I did. Last year in 2024 in June is when I became consistent, 5-6 days a week, depending on the half day on Friday. I want to keep that going, which I certainly kept it going. I had more half days last year than the previous year, and next year I'll have even more. That'll be fun to talk about. A couple golf things I had, stay a single digit handicap in my golf league and end the year as a 7 or lower. Failed on both parts. Well, failed where I went into double digits for a couple of months. I was pretty poor. But I did finish at 9. So I did finish at single digits. It's just, I finished at 7 last year. I don't know how I did that. That's pretty amazing. Break 80 at least once. I did it June 21st. I shot my first ever 79. Very happy. Hole in one, fail. I mean, I got close a couple times, but that's one that I could never ever succeed at. Who knows? And then I talked about vacation days. I wrote, I'm going to attempt to do no more than 4.5 vacation days from work through June 30th. I have no idea. Rich, I don't remember if I did this or not. All I know is I had a lot of half days. I'm calling this a success because I did a really good job of working my half days. So I was very happy about that.
Yeah, fantastic.
And that's it. I have a summary down below, which is all the stuff I just talked about in my goal sheet. So so those are pretty much all of my goals. It'll be interesting to see what happens with 2026 because the goals are going to be different. I'm not going to be writing as many words. The financial stuff will be different. The golf stuff will be the same. Just get a hold of one. But the book stuff will definitely be different because I'll be publishing now this year, along with a lot of editing. But I do want to write something. I'm kicking around all these different romance ideas. Let me throw this one at you, Rich. I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay.
It's story time with Jerry. This is actually a true story. So last Monday, I was coming out of my work at 4:30. Come downstairs. I got my hood up. I'm it's freezing cold, so I'm hurrying. And I just hear from behind me, "Excuse me," and I just kept walking. Didn't think they were talking to me. "Excuse me," and I turn around. And it's this woman, this woman who I don't recognize. Very pretty, which is probably why I came. And she said, "Did you just come out of your work?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, I work at the other building that shares with your work, and I locked myself out. Can you help me get back in?" Well, this is a big no-no in society. Right. You should not do this. So, of course, like I said, she's pretty. So obviously I did.
Yeah.
I actually said to her something to the effect of, "Oh, I don't know if I should let you," but I had no idea who to call, who to ask. So I was just like, "Yeah, tell me about what they do." So she told me what they were doing as we were walking back. And we chatted, had a nice chat. And then I let her through the first door. And as I'm letting her through the second door, she says, "Oh, by the way, my name's Alice." I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Jerry." Right? Okay. So it ends. It ends right there. So then I walk to my car, which is about 2.5 blocks away. I walk to my car. I get in the car and I turn the GPS on. And the GPS always suggests where to go. It knows during the summer on a Saturday morning, if I get in the car at 5:45, it knows to send me to the golf course. Like it just knows because I do it so often. Well, this knows home because I'm going home from work. But the second suggestion said Allison Winter. And I was like, wait,
what?
Is her last name Winter? Like, what did our phones exchange information? What the hell just happened here?
That's the only thing that could have happened.
So I get home, I get to my mom and dad's. So I'm picking up Max. I get to my mom and dad's. I'm telling my dad the story at the same time that I'm Googling all this stuff. And I found out that Allison Winter is not her name. Allison Winter is an oncologist in the Cleveland area that was 12 miles from where I was. But no, you laugh. But why did my car suggest me to go to something named Allison on the day that I bump into an Allison? It's the only time it's ever suggested it. Before that, nope. And after that, it hasn't since then. So I checked my search history and I did Google Allison Winter on October 29th. No idea why. It's an oncologist. I asked my buddy who was going through cancer treatments. He has no idea who she is. So it's just such a weird coincidence. And then immediately the next thing that popped into my head is, well, there's your meet cute for your story. So I've been playing around with a romance that I'd love to write. And I would do a pen name just for fun. And so I do want to write something next year, not in this series. I just want to write something. Right. So I'll probably try to mix that in with all the editing. That's a long way to get to the point, but I'm going to try to write something.
Well, that and the fact that you now have to go over to the other building and figure out what her last name is.
So that was last Monday. Oh, I know what it is. I looked it up.
Okay.
It turns out she's the director of the entire building, which is kind of funny. But I looked it up and I walked into work today. I haven't been to work since last Monday when this happened. And I walked into work this morning and sitting on my phone charger was a little envelope. And I opened the envelope and it was a thank you note from her saying, "Hey, thanks for saving my evening. I appreciate it." She said, I called the place where we work to get the number so I know who to call next time I lock myself out. Happy holidays, Alice. So it was very kind. Yeah.
So now what you do is you send her a note back saying, "Well, in case you can't get your work people, here's my number."
Yeah, right. Well, listen, don't think that something like that didn't cross my mind. But then when I looked up her full name, she has a dash, she has a hyphenated last name, which makes me think she's probably there.
Yeah. Well, then just save that little thing for the book.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. That's 100% what I'm going to do. I love that. Yeah. It's a great meet cute. It's a fun one. So I got a couple ideas.
It sounds very Hallmarky. So
100%, yes. She was very disheveled. She looked like she had her purse and some books, like just couldn't carry them very well. Like it was if we would have collided, it would have been perfect. But we didn't. So yeah.
All right, my 2025 goals in review. Initially, I started off the year saying I wanted to write 200,000 new words. That was kind of an arbitrary target because at that moment when I said 200,000, I had no plans whatsoever. I then put together some plans that included 3 additional romance books and a novella, and I kind of guessed, at 70,000 K each, what they would be in. It kind of added up more closer to 250,000. So I changed the goal from 200,000 to 250,000. And that was going to cover 3 romance novels and a novella, like I said. But like with most things that I do, I achieved this goal, but I didn't achieve it straightforwardly or anywhere near what I pretended I was going to do. I did hit the revised 250,000 word goal. I got 262,648, which I'm really happy with as of last week, and that'll probably be it for the year. So I'm happy with that productivity for the year. But in a stat that's probably of interest to nobody but me, I only wrote 96 days last year. So, there's 262 roughly work days, weekdays in a year, depending on what year you're in. So I only wrote a third of them. That's pretty pitiful, if you ask me. I should be able to do better than writing only once every 3 days. So that's something I'm gonna have to think about when I'm making plans for next year. But that did turn out to be, if you divide 262,000 by 96, it comes out to be roughly 2,700 words each day. And that number itself seems a little bit low to me. If I'm going to be writing, that should probably be a little bit more on those days. So I'm gonna have to think about that here over the next week and a half to decide what I'm gonna do about trying to improve that productivity next year. And all those first drafts I was going to do with those romance novels, that just kind of all went out the window. I did finish a first draft of a second romance. I did that right at the very beginning of the year. That was 51,983 words. And then for some reason, I got into a cozy mystery kit. I don't know if you remember me doing this or not, but so I wrote two cozy mysteries. First one was a little over 59,000 words, and the second cozy mystery was almost 40,000 words. So I got both of those.
These are the ones that were based on the character that was in the public domain. What was the?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What was the name?
I don't even remember her name at this point.
It was a him, and it was a kind of an ironic name. Yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it was now. I haven't looked at those since I finished them earlier in the year.
Early in the year,
yeah. And then I completely pivoted to writing a thriller. Why? Who knows? But I decided I was going to do that. And that's the one I just finished, 92,500 plus words. So I got 4 books. They weren't the 4 books I expected to. Actually, I got 3 books because I didn't do the novella at all. But I did do an additional 20,000 words on some editing that I did on Romance Number 1, which I had finished right at the very end of 2024. So that's what brought me up to 262,000 words or so. But that first romance is nowhere near completely edited. That's still going to have a lot done on it. So basically, going into 2026 now, I'm sitting on 5 first drafts. They need attention. Not as many drafts as you're sitting on, but it's still a lot.
Dude, it's still a lot. I mean, you and I are like sitting on so many first drafts right now. This is great.
I know. We got to do something to get these things finished up and out the door.
So my editing into goals, the new publishing podcast, not new author podcast. Jesus.
My second, I had some editing goals, but all those just went out the window when I started genre hopping on the first drafts. I never felt like I could go back and work on any of the earlier drafts, and then while I'm doing writing a completely different genre. I think I'm going to adopt your approach here. I'm going to try it for 2026. I'm still debating this, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a second thriller written, and then I'm going to go back and edit the romance, the cozy mystery, and the thriller, and just come out with 2 books in each of those genres and kind of see which one hits. Because I can market them as book 1, book 2, and book 3 coming, and then just put it coming, and then we'll see what happens with that. Publishing goals, I didn't have any real solid ideas of what I was going to do in terms of publishing, so as a result, I didn't do anything. Maybe 2026 will be the year something actually gets done. Marketing goals, I said at the beginning of the year, it didn't make any sense for me to worry about this until I have something ready to actually publish. I said that at the beginning of the year, but I know what I'm like. I'm very distracted by squirrels, and I could have easily gotten into doing something. And the only thing I did do was to listen to a lot of marketing podcasts, and they took up way too much of my time in 2025. So I'm going to try to really cut down on the amount of podcast listening that I do, at least in the normal vein. Towards the end of this year, I've gotten into listening to things like writers on writing and stuff, where people talk more about the craft and how they transfer their ideas into actual prose on the page and stuff. And I've been enjoying those a lot more as of recently. The only saving grace about all those podcasts I listened to is that almost exclusively those were during driving time, back and forth to work. So not like I was wasting time that I could be doing much of anything else. Well, I could be listening to music or something, I suppose. Social media goes, this was a total fail. I started off the year kind of like you, saying, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get like 1,500 followers to my Blue Sky account, and because it's basically free social marketing. I made some half-hearted attempts at the beginning of the year, as you recall, but it kind of turns out I really don't like social media all that much.
Awful.
I don't mind going on my account and shit posting on what other people put up, or just jibber jabbering with people, but building a brand, I mean, I don't even know if I want a brand. Does anyone want a brand? I don't know. I guess some people do, but yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with
crazy people, whack jobs, because it's awful.
Maybe once we get a bunch of stuff published out there, we'll have something that will actually make sense to talk about on social media.
Yeah, that's true. Right now, coming up with hey, I wish I could listen to Nessman and Hessman, which I thought was funny at the moment. It's not selling me any books.
That's right. Yeah. And this financial goals for 2025, I threw this in at the end just to kind of match your the fact that you were doing financial goals. And I had the big one was I wanted to be debt free by the end of this year, which would involve paying off the car loan that we had and a HELOC that we had. Well, the car loan got paid off. The HELOC, not quite. And so this is technically a fail, but it's mostly due to some tax planning reasons that I couldn't pay off that HELOC by pulling money out of some of my retirement stuff, because that would throw me into a different tax bracket, and I didn't really want to do that. Yeah. But all the debt that I had, it's all scheduled to be retired in January of 2026. So I'm going to take a preemptive pat on the back for actually being able to do this. It wasn't necessarily easy, especially the car loans, but yeah. So I'm happy with it. Overall, I think 2025 was a pretty good year. I didn't think that as of a week ago, but when I started putting this together, I decided I was pretty happy with it.
I did a lot, yeah.
Yeah, we both did.
Yeah. Good. All right, well, that's it. So we're going to do 2026 a week from Monday, so December 29th. Look for 29th, is that right? I think I asked you that earlier, too.
Yeah, 29th.
Yeah, so December 29th, we'll do our 2026. Again, mine is going to look so much different than this one because I'm going to concentrate more on publishing and editing and less on writing, which is a complete different turnaround from last year. And Rich, I think you might be doing the same thing.
Pretty much.
So we ought to be a very interesting podcast next year. So come back on the 29th. Make sure you subscribe, all that stuff. Come back on the 29th and you can hear that stuff. And based on that, I think we're done for tonight. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, but it's pretty good. We managed to stretch nothing into over an hour. So
about the same time we always are. So it's going to be nice and consistent. I like that. All right. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can email me, jerry@jerryevanoff.com. The website is jerryevanoff.com. And we are on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify, all these different places that you can find us.
Yeah, you want to talk to me? My email address is rich@richcasey.com. And I'm on Blue Sky at Casey himself.
And that is going to be it for this week, everyone. I'm very happy with the fact that I only coughed a couple of times. I might be able to get through a game. Maybe not tonight because it's almost 9:00, but maybe tomorrow I might be able to get through a game. So
tremendous bodily control. Have you ever thought about being a gymnast or anything? Or
I don't know if you can see my gut, but no. Yes, that's going to be it for us. There's the cough. I got ahead of myself. I got greedy. That's going to be it for us. So if you want to, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you all on the 29th.
Yeah, have a great Christmas, everybody.